pleasant good evening to you. This is Frankly Jazz, and I'm Frank Evans, and we will try to bring you in the next 30 minutes music that we think you might find engaging for a Saturday evening. Tonight we welcome back two gentlemen, Mr. Bud Shank and also at the piano, Mr. Claire Fisher, and we shall be playing selections from the new Pacific Jazz album by Bud Shank, which is called Bossa Nova Jazz Samba, and we'll show you this album in just a moment. But right now, let's play one of the tunes from this particular album. It was written by the pianist, a very talented, not only pianist, but also composer, conductor, arranger, Mr. Claire Fisher. And this is called the Samba di Borboleta. That's called the Samba di Borboleta, written by Claire Fisher and played by the Bud Shank Quintet. This is Frankly Jazz, and we shall be right back right after this. Welcome back. We go back again to the Bud Shank Quintet, and again we go back to the Pacific Jazz album, which we'll show you in just a moment. But first, let's go back to a kind of a mournful and charmingly delightful tune, again written by Claire Fisher. This is from the Bossa Nova Jazz Samba album, Bud Shank and Claire Fisher, and this is called Wistful Samba. And that is Claire Fisher's composition called Wistful Samba. And it's from the new Pacific Jazz album, which is called Bossa Nova Jazz Samba, with Bud Shank and Claire Fisher. It's Pacific Jazz 58. And this album, by the way, as is true of most of the albums that we show you, are available at Music City, all 3 stores. This is another of the Bossa Nova albums, and there are a great many these days. Briefly, the word Bossa Nova, were you to ask a person who speaks Castilian Spanish, they would have no idea what you're talking about. Nova meaning new, Bossa meaning bit, routine, whatever. So actually it's a Portuguese phrase meaning the new thing. And I guess it is the new thing when you come right down to it. Here's a young lady, turning to the disapped side, that I've had the pleasure and honor of knowing ever since she came out to the West Coast about, possibly 5 or 5.5 years ago. She is a charming singer and a delightful person, and she certainly deserves a great deal more recognition than she has had. I think you will agree with me, too. Her name is Terry Morell. Terry Morell and a charming and soft and sweet ballad. What is there to say?
What is there to say? And what is there to do? The dream I've been seeking has, practically speaking, come true. What is there to say? And how will I pull through? I knew in a moment contentment and home just you. You are so lovable, so livable, so handsome, it's just unforgivable. You're made to marvel at, and words to that effect. So what is there to say? And what is there to do? My heart's in a deadlock. I'd even face Whitlock with you. You are so lovable, so livable, so virile, it's just unforgivable. You're made to marvel at, and words to that effect. So what is there to say? And what is there to do? My heart's in a deadlock. Yes, I'd even face Whitlock with you.
Wow. It's Terry Morell. She's something else, isn't she? Terry Morell. We'll have her back again real soon. Don't go away. We'll be back with Bud Shank in just a moment. Welcome back. We go back again to the album by Bud Shank and Claire Fisher. This is a tune written by a man that is called the Elfin One. And he is the Elfin One, too. Al Garner wrote this. This is Bud Shank's version of Misty. probably the most unusual version of Misty you've heard in a long time. And may I also say that the camera work done by the greatest and most inventive camera crews in the entire country. No question about it. This is Frank Evans. We'll be right back. And that just about tears it for tonight. This is Frank Evans. I thank you very much. I also thank Bud Schenk and Claire Fisher and their group. And, of course, Miss Terry Morrell. And I thank you for watching. Next week, we have a most unusual show. I hope you'll look for it. This is Frank Evans, and we'll see you next week right here, same time, same station. Of course, we're with you every day from 1 until 5 and over KRHM FM. And until we do see you, as always, later. Pleasant Saturday evening to you. This is Frank Evans, and welcome to another edition of Frankly Jazz. Tonight we have some surprises for you. At least I think you will find them surprises. We have the Vic Feldman Quartet, whose new album on World Pacific is such a big hit. We also have a very dear and good friend of mine, Mr. Sammy Davis Jr., and also some other gentlemen that you'll meet a little bit later on. Right now, going to the World Pacific album by Vic Feldman. This is the Vic Feldman Quartet, and from jazz versions of Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, this is Gonna Build a Mountain. This is the Vic Feldman Quartet from their World Pacific album of jazz versions of Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. We will go to a gentleman who has a very successful album and a single going on a tune, or tunes, from that same show by Tony Newley, right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I said that a man that I consider to be a friend of mine, and I guess I dare say it because he's sitting right here, is probably the world's, without a doubt, the world's most talented entertainer, Mr. Sammy Davis Jr. Sam, it's so nice of you to come down, spend the time.
We are friends, you know, and we've known each other for a good many years.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what you're doing here. Pardon me. And it's nice to be asked to come down.
Thank you. Vic has the album out on World Pacific Records called Jazz Versions of Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. And I know that when you came back from London and we were up in Vegas working, you talked about Tony Newley and your close friendship and association with Tony. And I remember you said to me, you said, listen to the tune that we're going to do, and I think it'll kill you. And it was a thing called What Kind of Fool Am I, which, of course, is a big hit right now. What kind of a fella is Mr. Newley?
Well, Tony's about 26, 27, I think.
Mm.
He's been an actor all of his life. He started out as an actor. He was the original artful Darja in the Oliver Twist.
Mm-hmm.
And while he is now just beginning to be recognized as a major important talent in this country, in London, he's a tremendous star. He's done about 10 motion pictures on his own, which he has starred in. Musical pictures, and they're wonderful things. And he writes most of the lyrics.
As he did with Stop the World.
Stop the World, he collaborated on that with Leslie Brickus.
Mm.
They have been working together for quite some time, but this is the guy's talent never stops, and he is yet and still, with all of it, probably one of the most unassuming individuals you've ever seen. There's nothing impressive about him when you see him.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a great deal of charm, warmth.
Mm.
And Tony gave me the song. He said, Sam, I want you to do it. And when I came back, when we were in Vegas, I was in, as you said, I registered for the first time. And then we released the record, as you know, in London first.
Where it was a big hit.
It started swinging, you know.
Yeah.
And I got today, it's so funny. To help me, honest, I got a letter from Tony. And the critics weren't too over-enthusiastic about the show. They said, we don't know what he's trying to prove. And instead of taking it for the entertainment value alone, the New York critics tried to get very super critical about it, very analytically observing.
Yeah.
But the public digs it just as a show.
Yeah.
And he said, it looks like we're in for a comfortable run. You know. He said, of course, we're watching the charts to see how the records are doing.
Well, yours is way up there right now. Your version of What Kind of Fool Am I, which I think is one of the most beautiful ballads I've heard in a long time. I think people might like to know that Tony Newley not only collaborated on the music, he also wrote the book for the show, and he starred in it, and he also wrote...
He directed it, too.
And directed it, too?
And directed it, too.
He did everything but sell the tickets, I think, just about.
And I have a sneaking suspicion that one night he was doing that.
You got that soul program.
Incidentally, the
Yeah.
album, the guys playing the jazz version, is just too much. I got it the other day.
You like it?
I like it.
Good, wonderful. Let's go to them for a minute, and this is the Vic Feldman Trio. Now, incidentally, on the album is the trio with Vic playing both vibes and piano, but of course it's done with an overdub. And today, as you saw, Vic was playing vibes, but Jimmy Rowles was on piano. This is the trio now with Vic Feldman, Bob Whitlock, and with Kenny Dennis. And this is the ballad, the big hit for Mr. Davis here, the talented Mr. Davis, of What Kind of Fool Am I? Feldman Trio.
Oh, that's mighty tasty, Victor. Mighty tasty.
You like it?
Yeah.
Good.
You hear that played that way, you almost ashamed they put lyrics to it.
I don't know that that's necessarily so. I think the lyrics are beautiful, and I think the whole melody's beautiful. Tony Newley did a great job. both
Yeah,
ways.
he's, you know, it's a funny thing. It's an exciting thing for a guy to come from another country, hands across the sea and all that kind of jazz, but he came over and gave the male singer in this country a shot in the arm because, well, there hasn't been a song along a good song of this nature in at least a decade and a half that all the guys hopped on, you know. Every singer in the country that sings a song. And even those who don't even make records, they do it in the act.
Really?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Sam, we'll come back to you in a moment, and I would like you to introduce to the people the gentlemen who travel with you and the gentlemen that I have gotten to know and to become very closely attached to, too. All right?
All righty.
Good. We'll be right back with Sammy Davis and a few friends of his right after this.
Hi. This is our guitarist, Terry Rosen. Terry has been with me about a year. He's a very, very talented young man, both in the field of sort of commercial-type pseudo-jazz that I do on stage. And when he gets with the right kind of cats that don't keep him bogged down like I do, he swings pretty good. And also plays very pretty. We're going to do an album one of these days on reprise with just guitar and voice. The gentleman over here with the golden-type horn and the somewhat shaggy mustache is my trumpeter. His name is Ronald Jones. He is a very, very excellent musician and has quite a heritage because, well, back in the old days of when big bands were really something, his father was quite a man in the field. Named Jones, same thing, a basic band and everything. He's been with me about 6 months, and he's going to be with me for about 17 years because he owes me a lot of money, and I'm going to see that he stays with me. This fella up here on the drums, he's the guy that most people talk about in the clubs and everything because he's kind of flashy, and we spotlight all the guys, but Mike, in all honesty, usually walks away with all of the accolades. So the drummer has that chance and that opportunity to sort of shine when the spotlight shines vitally in the right direction. This gentleman has all of the necessary equipment to go along with it. Great soloist, great timekeeper. You just swing all night like this. His name is Michael Silva. Michael has been with me now, I'd say, about 4.5, 5 years. And he's something else, which you will hear a little later on. The gentleman at the piano, who is really the boss, I'm really the straw boss, sort of thing. Musically speaking, he takes care of all of the whys and wherefores. He's been with me about 5, almost 6 years, and he took over a spot in our group that certainly not the most comfortable one to take over. Took over arranger and conductor, having been the pianist and been second in command with me for many of those 5 or 6 years. Morty Stevens was my arranger and conductor for a good many years. Morty left to get married, settled down, became an arranger out here on the coast with Review Studios. And George stepped in. We had no qualms about what he would do because all the talent and the musicianship is there. And in the last couple of years, he's really sort of blossomed into his own, so much so that every day we have him writing more things for our book. And he's something else, both as an arranger and a conductor and as a pianist. These are vibraphones. These wives have been with me about 20 minutes. Actually, they belong to Victoria. And now you see what kind of real intestinal fortitude I have. I'm going to play with these gentlemen to sort of get them started. You're going to hear some of the worst things you ever heard in your entire. And we will start it off just to get it going. go, Mike. That's about it. We'll be back. At least Frank Evans will be back. He's back!
He's back.
He's here again, that mysterious man, the Scarlet Pimpernel.
We will be right back.
Like I said.
Like you said. Right after this. And that's just about it for this version of the TV version of Frankly Jazz. This is Frank Evans. Of course, we'll be back again next week at the same time. We're with you every day from 1 until 5 over KRHM FM. And I'd like to say a very deep thank you, and as he would say, a very deep bow in the direction of a good friend and, without a doubt, the world's most versatile, talented entertainer, Mr. Sammy Davis Jr.
Hey, well, listen, this series looks like it's going to be on for a while. If you ever get tired and you need somebody to introduce somebody sometimes, let me know. Well, my rare visits in town.
Sam, I know you're scheduled through 1964, and if we can catch you on the run, why, we'll try to do it because we think that somebody should present jazz on the air, and this is the only one at the moment.
Well, God bless you, and thank you, folks. And thank you for letting me come in and have fun today.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you guys for me. With
I will.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and also our thanks to Vic Feldman. We'll be back again next week, same time, and we look forward to hearing from you. We look for your letters. Till we see you, this is Frank Evans, and as always, later.